She walked into first class like a whisper and left like a scandal. Wearing a plain ivory dress and scuffed flats, she was mistaken for a stowaway. The catch? Her billionaire husband owned the entire airline. What came next silenced the entire plane. Denver International was its usual whirlwind of chaos, babies wailing, rollerboards colliding, and business people glued to screens as gate announcements ricocheted through the air. A chilly March breeze nudged through the terminal glass, with the Rockies standing like silent judges beyond the walls. Into the fray stepped Rachel Carter, ivory linen fluttering with each step from the shuttle. At 34, she had the kind of beauty that didn't beg for attention: chestnut hair half up, hazel eyes sharp but kind, and a worn silver bracelet glinting softly on her wrist. Her backpack, clearly loved, clearly old, held only a laptop and a dog-eared paperback. No designer tote, no glam squad, just simplicity. Which was the point, because Rachel Carter wasn't just anyone. She was the co-founder of Ether Air, the budget airline that had turned the travel world upside down, and wife to Ethan Carter, the reclusive tech genius worth $50 billion. Their private jet sat untouched in a private hangar, but Rachel refused to use it. She insisted on flying commercial to stay connected with the people we serve. Usually, she flew coach. Today, though, for the first time in months, she'd booked first class, seat 2A, on a red-eye to Seattle. She needed peace to finish her report. She bypassed the lounge, all-leather seats and soft jazz and overpriced lattes, and headed straight for her gate. There, she handed her boarding pass to a young woman named Claire. Claire's smile faltered instantly. "Ma'am, can you confirm your name?" she asked, eyes flicking to the screen, then to Rachel's simple dress and faded bag. "Rachel Carter," Rachel said with the calm of someone who had nothing to prove. Claire's fingers flew across the keyboard. A man in a crisp navy suit, standing nearby, scoffed under his breath. "Economy's that way," he muttered, just loud enough for her to hear. Rachel said nothing, gaze locked forward, jetway in her sights. Seat 2A. She reached it, settled in. The leather was buttery soft, but before she could even open her book, the snide comments began. Across the aisle, a woman drowning in gold jewelry, Vanessa Reed, leaned into her seatmate and said, too loudly, "Who let her in? That dress looks like a dish rag." The laughter that followed cracked like thunder. "She's clearly doing this for attention," Vanessa sneered, snapping a photo. Another voice piped in, "Probably a gatecrasher." Laughter rippled. Phones tilted. Rachel adjusted her bracelet but said nothing. The stares, sharp and crawling, didn't stop. As the rest of the passengers boarded, Rachel remained still, trying to disappear into the plush luxury of the newest Ether airplane's sleek lighting, lavender in the air. Silence, except for the clicks of seatbelts. She tucked her backpack beneath the seat, pulled out her paperback, and that's when the drama fully ignited. Flight attendant Miranda Cainbun pulled so tight it practically squeaked. Eyes like daggers approached with a clipboard and a voice soaked in suspicion. "Excuse me, this is first class. I need to see your boarding pass," she said, clipped and cold. Rachel handed it over with a small smile. Miranda examined it like it was a forgery. "There's a discrepancy. Stay here," she said before marching off and summoning two others. One was Tracy Wells Younger, pretending to smile. The other was Logan Pierce Tall, scowling like he was born disappointed. The three formed a triangle near the galley, whispering too loudly to be discreet. "Does she look like first class to you?" Tracy hissed. Logan laughed. "Bet she lifted someone's ticket." Miranda marched back, the pass held between her fingers like evidence from a crime scene. "Ma'am, we need to verify this." Step to the side. Rachel stood without flinching. Behind her, passengers trickled in, whispering and snickering. A woman in Chanel muttered, "Some people will try anything." A man chuckled to his seatmate. "What's next? Backpackers in the cockpit?" Rachel said nothing. Her fingers brushed her bracelet again, calm in the storm. Miranda peered at the screen again, brow furrowing deeper. "This seat is reserved for a VIP, she declared, volume rising. "There's been a mistake. You're in 32C economy." Rachel's brow arched slightly. "I booked this seat," she said evenly. Could you check again? Tracy stepped in, arms folded like a bouncer at a club. Ma'am, let's not cause a scene. You'll be fine in economy. Logan loomed behind her. Move, or we'll call security. The cabin went silent. Rachel gathered her bag with poise, then walked the long, humiliating gauntlet back to Coach. Phones lifted, fingers pointed. She tried to sneak into first. A teenager giggled. Look at her clothes. Total scam. Another hissed. Row 32. Seat C. The cushion was thin. The air was thicker. A man across the aisle. Greg Vaughn, loud tie. Louder voice leaned in. Nice try, lady. Stick to your lane. His wife filmed Rachel, smirking. This is going viral, she muttered, already uploading. Rachel opened her book, hands steady, eyes focused. But the plane hummed with the low, cutting static of judgment. As she stowed her backpack, flight attendant Carla passed by and muttered to Logan, loud enough for half the row to hear. She's the one who caused all that drama up front. Thinks she's special. Nearby passengers leaned in, their sneers barely hidden. Faked her ticket, one guessed. No class, no cash, another chuckled, filming her every move. Whispers became murmurs, murmurs became mockery. Rachel opened her book again, but the air felt like ice, a public trial for daring to exist. Tracy made her rounds, cheerful smiles for everyone but Rachel. Need anything back here? She asked, voice oozing sarcasm. Or are you good with pretzels? Laughter broke out. Logan tossed a blanket that landed in Rachel's lap, half folded, half insult. Don't say we didn't take care of you. He smirked, winking at Greg. From the front, Miranda barked, Focus on your job, Logan. Leave the charity case alone. Their laughter echoed back like gunfire. Rachel turned to Paige with an expression as composed as marble, but her hazel eyes flashed, catching the cabin light like fire behind glass. Unapologetic, unshaken. Meanwhile, Greg's wife, Lisa, still had her phone up, narrating like she was hosting a reality show. So this woman thought she could bluff her way into first class, she said smugly. Look at her now. Laughter flickered. Greg chimed in, booming, Bet she's never even seen $1 million. His voice carried, infecting nearby rows with smug approval. A college student nearby, earbuds dangling, tweeted, Lady and Coach got roasted, tried to flex rich. LOL. Within minutes, the post was blowing up, likes flying in like air miles. Rachel's fingers paused on her book, a quiet stillness around her. She didn't look up. Her silence wasn't surrender, it was a wall. Thick, impenetrable. Takeoff was smooth, but the tension in the air clung like static. Miranda strutted through the cabin, badge gleaming like she owned the aisle. Economy's full of surprises today, she quipped to Tracy, shooting a glance at Rachel. Some people just don't know their place, Tracy agreed, handing out drinks but conveniently skipping Rachel's row. Oops, ran out, she said, shrugging with a fake grin. Logan pushed the cart with the grace of a battering ram. Should have stayed home, backpack girl, he muttered. In the row behind, a woman named Ellen, loud, floral dress. Louder mouth burst out laughing. She's probably writing a sob story for her blog, she said, sending more giggles rippling through the row. Rachel took a sip from her own bottle, unfazed, composed. But the air had grown heavier, thicker, with ridicule. When meal service began, Miranda moved through the aisle like a queen doling out rations. First-class meals, fancy trays, but when she passed Rachel, she didn't slow. Nothing for her, she said to Tracy, deliberately loud. She's lucky to be on board at all. Snickers erupted. Someone muttered, should have walked to Seattle. Nearby, a teen fired off another tweet. Crew roasting fake rich lady. Iconic. The jabs had turned into performance. A plane full of strangers, united by cruelty. Rachel sipped her water, her calm almost eerie. But every insult fanned the flames of group ridicule, the crew's contempt giving the green light. Mid-flight, Greg leaned over again, his grin sharp. So what's your deal? You scam your way onto planes often? His tone was mocking, playful, like a cat toying with prey. Lisa was still filming. Rachel met his eyes, voice soft but steady. I'm just traveling like you. Greg scoffed. Yeah, except we paid for it. Lisa zoomed in. This is gold. Budget Barbie strikes out. Ellen popped in again. Bet she's dodging fares next. Now it was a full chorus of condescension. Rachel sat in the center like a statue, unwilling, unmoved, but still the star of a show she never auditioned for. By the time the wheels touched down in Seattle, dawn had painted the sky in soft gray. Rachel remained seated, letting the crowd deplane. Her backpack rested on one shoulder like armor. At the exit, Miranda waited her smile, reserved for the real first-class passengers. Hope you learned something, she said icily as Rachel walked past. Tracy chimed in with a smirk. Try the bus next time. Logan didn't bother with words. He just waved her off like a bad smell. Outside, Rachel hailed a cab, her face serene, but her phone buzzed. Lisa's video, now viral, had exploded. First class fail. Know your place. Over 2 million views and counting. Back at the Seattle gate, even before she exited fully, a cluster of first-class passengers lingered, whispering venom. She's the one who held us up, David Holt sneered, pointing. Trying to play VIP in that outfit? Pathetic. His wife nodded, adding, Ether's too good for her kind. Photos snapped. Another tweet. Budget chick ruined first class. Thanks for the delay. Laughter rose behind Rachel like a departing storm, cold, cruel, and final. By morning, X was on fire. Ether Air humiliates passenger. One post shouted. Classist much? Another echoed, retweeted thousands of times. The comments poured in. Those attendants are trash. She didn't deserve that. Nah, you dress like that? Of course they questioned her. Scammer. No way she's first class. In her Seattle hotel room, Rachel scrolled through the chaos, her expression unreadable. Not a single comment, no post, no rant, just silence. Instead, she opened her laptop. A folder labeled Ether Air. Service incidents lit up her screen. She clicked. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, swift, efficient, surgical. Across town, in the shimmering glass tower of Ether Air's Seattle headquarters high above Puget Sound, the mood in the boardroom was tense. Miranda, Tracy, Logan, all seated near the front, uniforms pristine, backs straight, eyes expectant. They'd been flown in under urgent orders, a closed-door meeting, high stakes. Miranda leaned over and whispered to Tracy, smirking, probably getting a bonus for shutting down that faker. Wannabe, Logan muttered smugly, still clinging to the last thread of confidence he had. Then the doors opened. The chatter stopped. In walked Ethan Carter, lean, commanding, with dark hair and darker eyes that could soothe or incinerate. At 39, he wasn't just powerful, he was the room's gravity. And right behind him was Rachel, still in that same ivory linen dress, her ever-present bracelet catching the overhead light like a blade. The backpack was gone. Her expression, untouched. The three attendants froze mid-breath. Ethan took his place at the head of the table. Rachel sat beside him, silent but unmissable. Thank you all for coming, Ethan began, voice low but edged with steel. Yesterday, a passenger was publicly humiliated on Flight 472. She was removed from first class. Her legitimacy was questioned. She was mocked. Openly. Miranda's confident smile withered. Tracy's posture collapsed into herself. Logan's smirk vanished entirely, eyes flicking toward the nearest exit like a man planning his escape. Ethan tapped a remote. On the massive boardroom screen, Lisa's viral video began to play every insult, every laugh, every smug comment, blasting from the speakers with uncomfortable clarity. No one spoke. No one blinked. Then Ethan leaned in. The woman you humiliated is Rachel Carter, my wife, co-founder of Ether Air, 40% shareholder, and the author of the customer service charter you're contractually bound to uphold. Gasps. Audible. Executives stiffened. Shareholders stared. Miranda's hands visibly trembled. Tracy couldn't lift her eyes from the table. Logan's jaw locked tight, his palms damp on his knees. You didn't just break protocol, Ethan said, voice rising like a coming storm. You broke trust not just with her, but with every single person who steps foot on our planes. Rachel stood. Her voice was calm, piercing, measured like a scalpel. I'm not here to play victim, she said, sliding a file across the table. This report documents 27 incidents of class-based discrimination on Ether Air flights. Passengers judged for what they wore, how they spoke, what bags they carried. I was one. Many others weren't as lucky to be sitting here now. She paused, letting her gaze sweep the room. I don't want compensation, I want justice. For those who don't have the power, I do. The boardroom leaned forward. Some nodded. Others scribbled furiously. Miranda cleared her throat, trying to speak. We just thought she didn't look. You thought wrong, Ethan snapped. And worse, you acted on it. He turned to the board. We have a decision to make. Are we protecting our brand for profit or for people? The room fell silent. Then one hand went up, then another, then all. Unanimous. The head of PR, Sarah Lynn, spoke next. We retrain, we reform, we rebuild trust. Rachel nodded. Start with accountability. And with that, the fate of the trio was sealed. Not fired, but reassigned. Miranda, 1 month at the customer complaint desk, fielding angry calls from passengers who'd seen her face splashed across social media. Tracy, demoted to serving economy. No special perks, no shortcuts, just crowded aisles and glares from passengers who recognized her. Logan, shipped to baggage claim. Rain, soaked and backbreaking, loading suitcases with his scowl intact. All three were mandated to complete full training under Rachel's charter, line by line, every policy, every value they had spit on. The board greenlit a sweeping new initiative. Respect beyond appearance. A global campaign. New training. Policy rewrites. A cultural overhaul. Rachel's report became the foundation, her vision, the mission. And while the campaign soared, the consequences hit hard. Tracy struggled in coach. Her name had become a meme. Passengers whispered, snapped photos. One mother refused her meal, hissing, "You're the one who mocked her, right?" Tips vanished. Her social media was a wreck. Old tweets mocking budget flyers resurfaced. And every day she was trained by Rachel's own program. Every rule was a mirror held to her failure. Miranda suffered even worse. The complaint desk became her purgatory. Angry voices called her out by name. You shamed that woman. Every insult replayed in her head. Co-workers avoided her. Her once polished reputation was in tatters. Former customers dug up her post's arrogant, elitist quotes that aged like sour milk. At night, she scrolled silently through number Ether apologize threads, watching her name crumble. Meanwhile, Rachel's initiative thrived. Logan's fate? Not spared. Baggage claim offered no audience for his snark, just aching arms and angry tourists. His past comments, screenshots of him mocking coach passengers on Reddit resurfaced. His public shame had no luxury seats. And Lisa? Her victory lap collapsed. Her viral fame turned toxic. Digging users unearthed her elitist history videos, posts, ugly captions. She deleted her account, vanished. Greg issued a half-hearted apology online. No one cared. The backlash buried him before the first sentence ended. The media pounced. CNN, billionaire's wife exposes airline elitism. Forbes, Rachel Carter redefines class and wins. 3 months later, Rachel boarded another Ether Air flight, this time from Denver to Chicago. Same ivory dress. Same silver bracelet. Same worn backpack. At the gate, a new agent named Maya looked up and smiled. Welcome aboard, Miss Carter, the gate agent said, voice warm, eyes kind. The cabin shimmered in soft light. This time, the energy was different. No side glances, no sneers, no whispers. The crew was alert, gracious, their smiles genuine. At the entrance stood Logan, uniform slightly creased, posture humble. Welcome back, Miss Carter, he said quietly, nodding with something new in his voice. Thank you for the lesson. Rachel met his eyes. No triumph, no mockery. Just a soft smile, honest and unsharp. She moved to seat 2A, set her bag beneath the seat, opened her novel, and exhaled, home in her own sky. The flight lifted without a hitch. Service, flawless. Across the aisle, a young woman in a hoodie, hugging a frayed duffel, sat quietly. She looked tired, out of place, alone. But the crew approached her with genuine warmth, offered extra pillows, a hot meal, a kind word. No assumptions, no judgment, just humanity. Rachel watched the scene unfold, her heart swelling. This was what she had fought for. Not for upgrades, not for vindication, but for this moment. Dignity, offered without conditions. The jet soared across the endless plains. The horizon stretched wide like possibility itself. Rachel turned another page in her novel. Her work was far from over, but this was the beginning of something real. She had taken cruelty and rewritten it into a new kind of sky, one where no one flew beneath anyone else. And sometimes, the loudest revolutions don't need shouts or fire. Just a quiet woman in an ivory linen dress who refused to disappear. If this story stirred something inside you, remember, respect isn't something you wear, it's something you live. And sometimes, the most powerful person in the room is the one no one noticed. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Because dignity shouldn't be a privilege, it should be standard. And every so often, it only takes one quiet woman in a simple dress to change how the entire world sees itself.